Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Let me ask you this. Have you ever spent weeks or even months working on a deal, only to find out that the customer was never really serious about buying? Or maybe you realized too late that you weren't talking to the right person, or that your product didn't actually solve their biggest problem? I've been there. In my early sales career, I once spent 3 months building a beautiful proposal for a large IT company. I thought I had nailed it. But then at the very last stage, their CFO stepped in and said, "This doesn't solve our biggest cost issue." And the deal died instantly. That's when I learned the importance of using a framework. That framework is MEDDIC Simplified DIC. MEDDIC isn't a checklist you follow step by step. It's a lens, a way of looking at your prospects and qualifying them deeply so you know whether a deal is real, whether it's worth your time, and how to win it. Today, we'll go through each letter in MEDDIC: metrics, economic buyer, decision criteria, decision process, identify pain, and champion. I'll give you practical examples and real stories you can use in your own sales conversations. By the end, you'll understand exactly how to apply MEDDIC in your daily work. Metrics. The first letter is metrics. Metrics are the numbers that define success for your customer. They care about what can be measured: cost savings, efficiency gains, or revenue growth. Here's a story. I once worked with a mid-sized hotel. They were using outdated booking software, and their staff were spending hours fixing errors. When I asked, "How many bookings are you losing because of this?" the manager estimated around 200 per month. With an average profit of €50 per booking, that was €10,000 lost each month. Suddenly, the conversation shifted. It wasn't about the cost of my solution anymore. It was about how much money they were losing by doing nothing. That's the power of metrics. They turn a nice-to-have solution into a must-have. Your job is to dig for the metrics that matter most. If you can show ROI, for example, this tool will pay for itself in 6 months. You're not selling anymore, you're solving. Economic buyer. Next is economic buyer. This is the person who holds the budget. If you don't know who that is, you're at risk. Here's an example. A software company once asked me to pitch their CRM tool. I built a relationship with the sales manager, and she loved it. However, when we reached the contract stage, the CFO stepped in. He asked one question: "How does this reduce costs compared to our current system?" I didn't have a solid answer, because I've been focused on sales' perspective, not finances. The deal collapsed. Lesson learned. Always identify the economic buyer early. And sometimes, there's more than one. In complex B2B deals, you may need to convince finance, IT, operations, and sales. Each has veto power. MEDDIC teaches us to map these people, understand their concerns, and make sure we address all of them. Decision criteria. Every buyer has decision criteria. These are the factors they'll use to evaluate vendors: cost, usability, integration, support, security, the list goes on. Here's a real-world scenario. A client once told me, "We don't care about advanced features. We just need something our team can use without training." If I had wasted time showing off complex analytics dashboards, I would have lost them. Instead, I focused only on simplicity and ease of use. So remember, always ask, what's most important to you when making this decision? And then tailor your pitch. Don't sell everything. Sell only what matters to them. Decision process. The second D is decision process. Every company has a roadmap for how they buy. Let me share a quick story. I was working on a deal with a manufacturing firm. We had several positive calls, and I thought we were ready to sign. Suddenly, the client said, "We need to run this through procurement. It'll take 6 weeks." I hadn't even known procurement was part of their process. That delay killed the momentum, and eventually, the project went to a competitor. That experience taught me. Always ask questions like, what steps do you normally take before signing with a new vendor? Or who else needs to review this? Knowing the decision process helps you plan ahead, prevent surprises, and guide your champion through the internal journey. Identify pain. Now, maybe the most important part of MEDDIC: identify pain. No pain, no deal. Pain creates urgency. Pain makes the customer care. For example, I once spoke with a retail company struggling with long checkout lines. Customers were leaving carts behind, costing them thousands every month. That pain, frustrated customers, and lost revenue was what opened the door for my solution. If you only talk about features, you're selling vitamins. But when you connect your solution to pain, you're offering painkillers. And people buy painkillers faster. Here's a tip. Ask questions like, what happens if this problem isn't solved? Or how is this challenge impacting your revenue or your team? The more you uncover the pain, the more compelling your solution becomes. Champion. The last letter is champion. A champion is your ally inside the customer's organization. They believe in your solution and fight for you when you're not in the room. I remember a deal with a telecom company. My main contact was a mid-level manager. She wasn't the economic buyer, but she saw how much our solution would help her team. She became my champion, sharing internal updates, preparing me for objections, even pushing her boss to approve. Without her, I would never have closed that contract. That's why you need to find your champion. Look for someone who feels the pain personally, believes in your solution, has influence, even if not budget authority. Support your champion. Give them tools, ROI studies, and answers to objections. Help them look good inside their company. Because when they win, you win. So let's recap MEDDIC. Metrics, find the numbers that matter most. Economic buyer, identify who really holds the budget. Decision criteria, understand how they'll choose. Decision process, map their buying steps. Identify pain, discover urgent challenges. Champion, build an internal advocate. Remember, MEDDIC is not a step-by-step process. It's a framework. The more boxes you can check, the higher your chance of winning. Here's the takeaway. Don't chase deals blindly. Use MEDDIC to qualify smartly. Focus your energy and close with confidence. If you found this video helpful, hit like, subscribe, and comment below. Which MEDDIC stage do you think is the hardest in your deals? For me, it used to be identifying the economic buyer until I learned to ask the right questions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.